So this is my kinesiology module 13 assignment. I decided to do a video response. So I'm just going to get right into the questions. And so the first one was, what observations can you make after watching the 3 videos that were in the write-up? Guess? I don't know. So I felt that there was a lot of support and excitement in this whole gaming system that they have going. It was really exciting for them, and it was something that really made everybody come together as a community, and how they were all so happy for this. And some of the people, the one said, where did it go? It was young people setting goals for themselves, and so that later they can build healthy and safe communities. So this really was a way for them to build a better, safer environment where everybody could have a positive outlet, because there was a lot of drama and trouble that was going on beforehand, and so this was the solution for this. And so that's how this originally started, and so everybody's so engaged and so happy to be able to participate in this. They're always friendly, and I thought it was really neat the kinds of games that they had, that they kept it really traditional. They weren't playing things like hockey and baseball and stuff like that. Like, it was things that pertained to them and their culture, which was really cool. And I also liked how the one man who originally organized it, when they first started it in 1971, they had 3,000 athletes, which was insane. But also how they eventually got it so that it came up to the Olympic model, and it motivated other countries to have regional indigenous games. And then this kind of is in the video. It said it was eventually going to culminate into the World's Games, where they could unite sports and culture for the indigenous people, and that was really cool to me. And I liked how they were so passionate about keeping that culture into the sport instead of just focusing on the sport. So what do you observe about the overall spirit of the games and those interviewed? So that kind of tied into my last question too, but everybody was super happy. They were always having fun. There was a huge idea of coming together. It wasn't different people participating in different sports. It was everybody was there for the games. And even in those Rick Mercer reports, I found those hilarious. But even the crowd, they were singing a song, and they were just so involved in the sport, and everybody there even said they were just, it brought the community together, and it brought them together over this sport and how they could play, and how much support for each individual athlete. And everybody was just so happy, and that was really different compared to what you see with other sports. And so that kind of leads into the next question. So what appears to be the general mindset of those participating with respect to the spirit of the games and competition? So I liked the really relaxed mental attitude. That one, he was 62, he was participating in the Labrador Games. He found out 2 days before that he was going to be participating, and he didn't did you train? No. He just completely went into this with a okay, I'll see how I do. I know I'm good at what I do. They didn't feel it was overly pressured, which is really different than most sports and most competitions. They were happy for everybody who won. There was nobody who was sitting in the corner pouting because they didn't win, or being kind of passive aggressive about oh, well, they won and I didn't, and so I'm gonna be fake and smile. And that's not how they were. Everybody was super friendly about it, and I liked that it didn't seem like there was competition. There was no, from what I saw in any of the videos, no first, second, third podium kind of thing, or medals or whatever. I know they mentioned the thing of medals, but they never had podium of this is gold, this is silver, this is bronze kind of thing, to make it they were competing for that title. It was they were competing to be there and to participate and to support their culture and their past. And that was something that was really cool because their mindset wasn't on winning, their mindset was on being there and supporting. And so that was really neat. And so that also ties into the last question, which is, how would you compare these observations with those of individuals competing in the Olympics, in games or sport in your community, and for pro sport? So, again, going back to that training thing, the Olympics, or even when because I went to like brick and mortar school for grade 9, and so I was on the rugby team, and even like the training for just being on that, like we didn't have to like compete to get on the team. Like everybody who like signed up and wanted to participate was on the team, but even like the amount of training that they do just to prep you for a high school game of rugby is insane. And like the push that they have for winning and for how to win and like all these different things, and like to push you into further sports where that goal is simply to win and how to do so, like it's a different mindset, and that's not seen in the Indigenous games. Like none of them seemed like they had trained forever and forever and like with this goal of just winning their like specific sport. Like they seemed like they were there to support their sport. If they won, they won. If they didn't, oh well. And also again, like there is specific sports that are seen as common, and these are the ones that appear in the Olympics, and this is like the worldwide standard of what is a common game and what's not. And you know, like you don't see any of the Indigenous like sports in that, and I liked that in these games they showed what is Indigenous to their like culture, like the one where they had the seal hanging and they had to like kick that, or the like kneel jump. It's kind of like long jump, but like they're kneeling and then they have to jump. Like it's cool that they have that. It's not specific to what other people want, it's what their culture is, and that's really neat to me. And again, like the competition aspect of it, like they weren't competing against each other really, like they were there to support the event. Whereas for the Olympics and sports in my area and sports like pro sports is a lot just for money. Like if you watch those athletes, they don't seem to have a passion for the sports, like the ones on commercials do kind of thing, but like that's not really getting to know them. And these people, you could see that they had a genuine passion for what they were doing, not just there to get money, not like. And nowadays I feel like that's a lot of what sport is, and there's a really big like competition even between different countries in the Olympics and stuff, how competitive and how like over emotional they get like if they lose and stuff, and how saddened the country is. Whereas like this, even in the World Indigenous Games, like they're trying to unite each other and they're trying to unite that sport and that culture, which was really neat. And they were just kind of keeping it real, and I'm going to be kind of like cliche there and say that, but they were keeping it real to the sport and to the culture, and that's to me what sport should be about. And I think that it's really neat that they were able to project that through their games, and that I think the Olympics and sports in my area, pro sports, have a lot to learn from that on keeping things like true to the sport and true to where it came from and why people are playing, as opposed to playing for a win or playing for a medal or playing for money. And so overall, they have a really great setup, and I think that it's really cool what they do and how happy they are to be doing it. And I think that they should continue to do this because this is really good for them. And I think that they should teach the rest of society how, like maybe train them on how they should look at sports and how this is a helpful thing for people and it's not just for a win or just for money. And I think that we have a lot to learn from them.